Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome. Lean in. So, you guys, hello, welcome. So, you may or may not have heard about a beautiful thing that we possess called an imagination. You may or may not have heard about frequency, but I want to talk about it here today. I want to talk about how it can have a profound effect on your entire life. And I want to talk about the connection between them. Before we go into it, I have to remind you, and I know I chat about this often, about what is frequency. Okay? Everything has a frequency. Everything. We know this, science has taught us this. As our living in our bodies, we are a mass amount of cells vibrating at a high rate. Everything has a frequency. I have a frequency. You have a frequency. The chair you're sitting in has a frequency. The phone or computer you're listening to me on right now has a frequency. Everything has a frequency. Okay? Everything. Everything's vibrating. Nothing rests ever. Okay? And the imagination is probably one of the greatest miracles that any human being can possess. Okay? Imagination has allowed so many things to be taken from a thought into its physical form. Okay? All of our great inventions that have transformed our lives, from the phone to the computer to the light bulb to just taking, ink, and instead of dipping it, they put it in this like awesome capsule thingy that like clicks and everything. Every single invention that's ever been brought into our lives was once first a thought. Somebody said, hey, wouldn't it be cool to not have to dip a pen in ink? We can just take it wherever we want. Wouldn't that be cool? And someone thought of it. Okay, your imagination, it's called, and we've talked about this before, it's called one of your higher faculties. And if you use these higher faculties to your advantage, you can start taking your life to the next level, and it can be so easy. It can be so simple. Okay, like our creator, whatever you believe created us, gave us these tools, and we need to develop them to a higher level. That's what we're here for on this earth. Okay, imagination, also visualization. Understand that as humans, we think in pictures. So if we image something, we imagine something, it's us thinking in a picture. Okay, but whenever a person forms a thought, and this has happened to you, it happens to you multiple times a day, we form a thought or an idea in our mind, we are forming the image that corresponds or matches with that thought or idea. So, like for an example, if a person thinks of a boat, they're not thinking the word boat. They're thinking of an image of the last time they encountered a boat. It may have been a cruise ship, it may have been a fishing boat, it may have been a pontoon. Okay, but they, based on their experience, they are gathering this image and putting it in their mind. Okay. This is a really powerful tool, and you think it's really simple, you think it's really basic. But if you start to really harness the images that you're putting in your mind and hold on to them with one of your other higher faculties, your will, you will be able to transform that image into its physical equivalent, even if it already exists. It might not exist in your realm. Say you desire to have a boat, but you don't have a boat right now. You can imagine one in your mind. But then what happens is you start going, oh, I can't have it. Who am I to have a boat? It's going to cost this much money. I'm going to have to work this much harder and blah, 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 blah. All these things pop into your mind on why you can't have the boat. Well, why can't you? The truth is, the only thing stepping in between you and that boat that you've imagined in your mind is you. Okay. Every thought that you think has a frequency. Okay. And we can either go up or down in frequency depending on how we're feeling at the time. You've had things that you've imaged in your mind that have like pumped you right up, and you've had no problem bringing them into their physical form. And there's other things that you've imaged for years and years and years that have never come into its physical form. You've just given up on them. Okay. We have the power to choose our thoughts that will make our lives better. This is why it is one of the most powerful tools that you can understand that you possess, and everybody possesses them. It doesn't care where you live, what your socioeconomic status is, what color your skin is, what sexual orientation you are. It doesn't care. Every single human is born with one, with an imagination. But we get these ideas and we cast them away so quickly because we believe that they're unachievable. Well, says who? When you were a kid, and I can vouch this, I have a 7 and 9-year-old that even just this morning were pretending that they were on a boat. That's probably why I'm talking about boats today. And they were rescuing sea turtles. That's what they were doing this morning. And the ottoman that sits in front of my couch was the boat. And they were rescuing sea turtles. And then they were walking up and down the beach. And they were picking up starfish and they were putting them back into the water. We watch kids do this all the time. And honestly, knowing how powerful our imagination is and knowing how as adults, we stopped using it. We were told to get our heads out of the cloud and we stopped using it. I honestly believe that we are exposed to kids at different points in our lives so that we can tap back in to that magic. It's the reason you love Disney so much. It's tapping into that magic. But the fact is the older we get, we think we get so much wiser and that we know better. And yet we stop using one of the most amazing tools that we were ever given. The only thing standing between you and that image that you have in your mind, whether it's the vacation you want to take or the business you want to start or the team you want to build or the job that you desire or the amount of money in your bank account or the relationship or the health or whatever it is, whatever you've imaged on your mind, the only thing standing between you and it is you. And all of the stories that you have in your head saying that it's unachievable when it's absolutely achievable. You have to hold the visualization of whatever you are desiring in your mind. And never, ever, 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 ever talk about what you don't want. Always talk about what you do want. And there will be a much higher chance that it will happen. Right? When your mind goes there, you have to make up your mind that it's not going to stay there. If you have something that you desire, you have to hold it. No matter what, no matter if someone comes in and tells you that you can't have it, no matter if your work tells you that that job doesn't even exist, no matter if your spouse or your parents or your BFF or whoever it is tells you that you're nuts for thinking that you can have that, you hold it anyways. Because the fact is they just don't see what you see. They aren't in love with your image because they can't see it the way you see it. They have their own perceptions, their own habits, their own ways of thinking. That's on them. They've also got their own images of things that they desire. Stay in your own lane and hold the image. Remember, everything is vibrating. It has a frequency. Okay? And you get to decide the frequency, the vibration that you're going to hold it at. You have this like amazing energy flowing to and through you. It's omnipresent, it's everywhere. Okay? You take that power that is flowing through you and you are going to create thoughts with it. And there's so many leaders, philosophers, brilliant people that disagree on a lot of different things. But one thing that they agree on unanimously is that we become what we think about. We become what we think about. Yet, even knowing this, so many people are out there thinking about things that they don't want. Or this amazing image pops in their mind and they let it get taken away just because they're in the habit of getting it taken away. You have to become obsessed with that image and stay focused on it no matter what. Okay, when you find what you do want, use your imagination to grow it, to give it life. Okay, picture a thought. Okay, so just like this pen was once a thought in somebody's mind, they said, hey, let's carry ink around in our pockets. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be super convenient. Change the way the world does things. Okay, they had an image in their mind. And it's that thought, when it was planted into their subconscious mind, it's like, I mean, spring is coming, right? We're going to take seeds, we're going to put them in rows in the ground, and then we're going to water them. And we're going to make sure they get sunlight. We're going to make sure, the dog doesn't pee on them. And we're going to make sure that nobody's walking all over them, right? We're going to protect them. And then we know it'll take, 6, 8, 10 weeks, but eventually we'll start to see little plants coming up from the ground. Little vegetables, little flowers, whatever you're planting. Okay? Your thought is doing the exact same thing. You're taking that thought and you're planting it in your subconscious mind, and your imagination, it's like fertilizer. It's like sunlight. It's like water. And you use your imagination to grow it. And you start asking yourself, like, what else can I do with this? And whenever it pops in how you can't make it happen, you get rid of it and you say, but how can I make it happen? Okay. Understand that you are a creative being. This is actually what you are meant to do. And it is like natural law that you either create as a human or you disintegrate. Okay. You can use your imagination to create whatever future you want. This is actually something that you were given. Just like you were given eyes to see, nose to smell, mouth to taste, heart and lungs, you were given an imagination to grow whatever life you desire. It doesn't matter what life you were born into, it doesn't matter. And there's so many examples of people that came from nothing that have these huge, opulent, abundant lives now. And it doesn't make sense. But when you truly understand this material, it makes perfect sense. Whether you're aware or not, you are tapped into the energy of this creative flow of the universe. It's always flowing to you and through you. And if you use it wisely, you can change your life. When you have a strong desire to be, do, and have something, know that feeling, divine feeling, take it seriously. There is something in you that wants to grow. Who are you to start squashing it? Who are you to go into somebody else's garden and start squashing their plants? Who are you to let someone else come into your garden and start trampling all over your plants? That's not for them to do. You get to keep them alive and letting your imagination flow. And you get to decide every single day that you either let that imagination flow or you're going to dismiss it and you're going to let it get stuck. It always comes back down to fear. You start imagining something that's bigger than you, something you've never done before, something you've never created, something your family for generations hasn't even thought about. And it's scary. It scares the hell out of you. And you think, you know what? It's a lot easier, it's a lot safer to hang out. And you get stuck in fear. But what I want you to do is I want you to start to trust that perfection that is inside of you. And you can nourish that perfection first. Main thing you can do is make sure that it is all laid out. Just like you're not going to plant seeds in the ground in the middle of winter. I'm from Southern Ontario. It's cold here. I'm not going to plant some seeds. Not yet. But when the environment is just right, I'm going to plant them. And I know that they're going to grow. Without a shadow of a doubt, as long as I give them sun and water and love, they will grow. Are you in the environment that will nourish your goals? That will allow your imagination to flow, that will keep you in a high frequency so that you are a vibrational match for what you desire? Or are you in an environment that's feeding fear, that's squashing your goals, that's killing off your imagination before you even get a chance to start? Honestly, when I look at something as simple as a pen, I have so much gratitude for the person. I don't even know who it was. I'll have to Google it later. Who had the idea to bottle up ink and they trusted their idea enough to act on it and change the way we do things. We actually just had the 100-year anniversary of insulin, and my oldest daughter, she has type 1 diabetes, and I honestly just when the anniversary came around, it was just like, oh, what an awesome opportunity to just have so much gratitude. And I forget the scientist's name that discovered insulin, but again, I'm looking now, she's got this insulin pump that talks to this device that she wears on the back of her arm that's reading her sugar all the time. I could pull up an app on my phone now, and she's at gymnastics camp right now, and I could read her sugars, right? And I'm going like, I am so grateful that someone thought, okay, this person can't produce insulin and it's kind of a big deal. How can we package it up? Oh, we need to know their blood sugar levels so that they can get it done. Okay, so how about we like they wear this device and then they can talk to each other. How brilliant is that? Like, so grateful. From as simple as a pen to an insulin pump. Okay, all of these things were just an idea and someone grew them in their imagination, and then guess what they did? They didn't let it sit there. They took action. They took action. And I'm sure they developed a million insulin pumps before they've developed the one that they now have now. Do you know how many prototypes of a light bulb that were gone through? It was like 10,000 attempts at it before he nailed it. And now we just light up the world. We don't need fire to do it all the time. Okay? You have to feed the idea. with your imagination. And this is, guys, you'll get anything you want. You can accomplish anything. But make sure that you are first getting yourself in the environment that will allow you to do that. Okay, a big idea that you believe will make other people's lives better. What is that? How can you nourish it? But if you want to be more, have more, and get yourself in that environment, I've created it. I have one. It's called the High Vibe Society. It's a group of like minded people, awesomeness, and they're growing just like you, but they're committed to their growth. They're very intentional about their growth. We study together every day, we mastermind, we bounce things off of each other, we celebrate each other. Check it out. We'll link it up for you. Get intentional about this. The fact that you're still hanging out here listening to it, listening to me talk about imagination, you're going, oh, yeah, I have one of those things. Don't dismiss it. You've been your awareness on this topic has been raised for a reason. You are not in a position to squash it. But get yourself in the environment. And I promise you, you won't find anything else like it anywhere. If you are ready to let your imagination flow, build that picture, get into the environment, and start taking action. And make sure that that environment, just like the High Vibe Society, is going to hold you accountable to it as well. Because no one, so easy to get in our own way. So easy. It's what we specialize in. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you're intrigued on what we were chatting about and are curious about starting to develop your own imagination and doing this on purpose, I want to invite you also to the Power of Purpose retreat. I have one coming up again on April 2nd. And in this retreat, we dive right into what is your purpose in life. We design a vision for your life based on that purpose, and then you can set some goals. Most people just hop to the goals, or they assume it's all the same thing. What's the difference? Huge difference. You feel the difference. So if you're ready to get on purpose, join me there. Join me in the High Vibe Society. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And honestly, do yourself a solid today and really get intentional with using your imagination, because you're coming up with some awesome things. You're just rejecting it before you keep going. Deal? Awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining me. Hello there on Instagram.